Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us has become my signature beginning of the sermon for the last 4 years. And usually I have a prepared text in which I read and try to look at you occasionally and tell you that I'm still with you. But today is different. Today I do have papers in front of me, but they don't tell me where to go line by line. I've decided to take a different path today. It's amazing how much it takes trust to really say those words, Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us, fall fresh on me. To not have a script causes a little tribulation, a little anxiety, a little fear. My brother Donnie is here with us, Pastor Brian. I had a phenomenal experience last week. I asked Pastor Brian to do the final blessing at our service last week. And then I came in at about 11:30 after greeting people outside, and Jim Crump, one of Pastor Brian's elders, came up to me and said, what are you doing back here? And I said, well, I'm here for the first service of Valley Redemptive. No, we know that. There's a seat for you up front next to Pastor Brian. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not up there. He didn't say anything about that to me. He was like, no, he wants you there. And I was like, well, you better go up and ask him, because I'm not just going up. He was like, this is your church. And I was like, no. And so I went up, and we sat next to each other, and as the music was going, he pointed to the program, and he was like, a couple of hymns here, I'll say something, my wife will say something, a couple other comics here, and you're here. You say some things here. It's like, I had not prepared. I didn't know what I was going to say, and then 15 minutes later, I had discovered that the Spirit was working in me. I want to tell you a couple of stories this morning that I think talk to the power of the Spirit and the relationship between the Spirit and Mary pouring out her ointment on Jesus' feet, and the relationship between being available to the Spirit and our capacity to pour ointment on each other and on the world, and to receive ointment and to be changed by it. I know last week when I came into the pulpit in the morning and again in the afternoon, I felt changed by the afternoon. When Pastor Brian and I debriefed this week, he was like, be careful, brother. Do not expect the same from the Spirit this week. Just make yourself available. That's really hard work, to make yourself available, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's dangerous to show up and just be available to the Spirit and to be present to the Spirit. So this week, it goes back a little bit. You know from the calendar, the parish calendar, that immediately after Easter, and after the vestry meeting on Monday, Easter Monday, I will leave and go back to Alameda, and then Stephanie and I will fly to Haiti on March 31st. And a couple of months ago, I received an email from a colleague of mine, Lucinda Moshe, a fellow theologian, Episcopal Church Foundation fellow. She wrote me an email, Joe, I'm just back from Haiti, where I taught at the Anglican Seminary, and they're looking for faculty. They have faculty come in once a week throughout the year, and I thought of you immediately. Would you be interested in going? I didn't ask her any questions. I said, yeah, that'd be great. Super, no problem. didn't ask any questions until the whole process started to develop. And Stephanie's like, we should ask her a couple of questions, like, what's the culture like? Can we go out for a walk in the evening, that kind of thing. And this week came back the email. You should be prepared, Joe, writes Lucinda. You should be prepared that you will have electricity about 5 hours a day. You may have the privilege to take a shower every 3 or 4 days when there's water. You'll generally have rice and beans. There's no chicken, poultry, or meat. The seminary is poor. It's a dangerous place. The seminary is surrounded by poverty. And I quickly started to go through my head, trying to imagine how I could not go. How could I not go? It's not really what I was thinking. And she wrote to me and she said she had no idea I was feeling this on the other side. She wrote to me and she was like, I'm so happy you're going. She says to me, I was the first one to go and you're the second one to go. And I was like, well, I thought this was a big program and I was participating in this program. And it turns out that it's a new program. And I experienced this naivete about not asking all the important questions up front. And so I wanted to pull out. And I've worried about it a lot this week. And then in my prayer, I knew that I was called to go. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us. It fell fresh on me. And it brought me to a place that I did not expect to go. And then when I knew I was going there and I knew the circumstances and conditions, slow down. Maybe I wasn't so sure about living God fall fresh on me. So, yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one with this experience. So I'm going. And as I said to Stephanie, my beloved, there's not a place on earth that I wouldn't go with her that wouldn't be transformed by her presence. And that we can do anything together. While I'm talking about Stephanie, I want to tell you another story. Stephanie and I, when we got married, invited a dance instructor to our wedding reception. And we had done dancing lessons for about 6 to 9 months prior to our wedding reception. And then we invited the instructor to be with us, feeling somewhat proficient about our own skills, as fragile as they were, and then wanting to teach all our friends how to dance as good as we could. A little arrogance there. The instructor came and we began to dance. People were very reticent to get up to dance, so people pulling people out of chairs and, come on up and dance. Anyway, it was a long night, and we must have forgotten all our lessons because we were not very good, and none amongst our friends were very good either. But we had a great time. And then, as you know, we've been married for 13 years. And we used to go to, as you all do probably, go to weddings and go to parties where they have music and dancing. And for 13 years, we went to parties and we did the obligatory first dance. And then we looked at our watch. We were like, well, this is the second party. This is not a party for us. This is party for the dancers. So we'll do the first dance to show everyone that we really love each other, and then we'll leave. So for 13 years, we've been going to parties, dancing for one dance, and then walking out the side door. This past summer, we went to a wedding that Stephanie was invited to oversee and preside at for a former parishioner of hers from Trinity in Reno, a doctor. And the wedding was held on the property where the doctor lives. And they had flown in from all over the country, somewhat wealthy family, flown in a 15-piece band. And the 15-piece band sounded like Pastor Bryant's choir last week. It was powerful. It was really amazing. So we got up for our first dance, and we danced. And then we went back to the table, and somehow our pattern had changed. We didn't go out the side door. And so Stephanie said, "You want to dance again?" And I was like, yeah, let's dance again. Well, long story short, we were amongst the last of the wedding reception to go home. And about halfway through the evening, on the floor, Stephanie turns to me and said, "Where have you been all these years? Where have you been?" So I think that those two stories speak to me about this text of Mary pouring out her ointment, her precious ointment. And so, my spouse, who knows me and cares for me and loves me, and I love her in this intimate space that only spouses know. And yet, I was holding back. And then going to Haiti. I wanted to teach. I wanted to be in another part of the third world. And yet, I was holding back. I was coming back from Francis Racing's 100th birthday yesterday. I had my collar on. Usually I take my collar off the minute I get out of a ministry environment. So, went to the party, wore my collar. Hadn't taken the collar off. I'll take it off at the grocery store. The man, a homeless man, standing on the corner of Fair Oaks and Manzanita as I turned to go into Arden Arcade. And I realized I had my collar on. And it's like, I won't be able to get out of giving this guy some money. So I'm there on the line trying to take my collar off. And it dawns on me, you're preaching about this tomorrow morning. Stop. And I rolled down the window and gave him some money. Poured out ointment. A couple of weeks from now, literally a week from now, all of us, many of us, some of us, will go to Winter Sanctuary to feed the homeless of Sacramento. We've given money to Winter Sanctuary. The vestry approved $1,000. 12 to 15 parishioners will go and feed the homeless. And I invite you, I invite me, from my stories I need to be invited too. I invite you to take out your precious ointment and bring it with you. Bring it with you on the evening, March 21st, when we go to St. Matthew's Church to feed the homeless. Not just food, not just money, not just prayers, but how we look at the homeless, how we privilege them with our love, how we privilege them with Jesus' love, how we touch them, how we make them feel like they're the most precious people on earth and that we have a privilege to serve. I think that's what the gospel is about this morning. I think the gospel is about pouring ourselves out and being changed when others pour out on us. Being changed by being available to the Spirit. Being changed so that something anew might happen. And to leave space for when it doesn't happen. I wonder if I wonder if it's this pouring out of ointment that really makes us ministers, companions of Jesus, following in Jesus' way. This past week, the Executive Council of the National Episcopal Church met in Camp Allen. Bishop Michael Curry was there, and he talked to the most senior leaders of the church outside of the bishops, our lay and clergy on Executive Council, who implement all the resolutions and agreements from General Convention every 3 years. And this past week, they were focusing on racial reconciliation. And so Bishop Michael Curry, our first African-American presiding bishop, led the Executive Council, and now this morning, the House of Bishops, in a conversation in which they talked about their experiences of living with people of color and the exchange of friendships and relationships. And people have been posting all week about how they felt changed by this experience. Bishop Michael wrote to the whole church this past week and said that he believes that the church will change when we go deep, when we're willing to tell our stories unabridged, unprepared, fully vulnerable. That when we're willing to go that deep, that the church will change. Not because of our resolutions, not because of our well-written scripts, not because we feel confident about what we're doing, not because we met the strategic plan, not because we did all the points that we set out to do, but because we went deep, because we took a chance, because we moved beyond the obligatory dance and didn't go out the side door with each other. And so I think this is a historic day in the life of St. Francis. You're about to go into a period of discernment as a parish with Father Ray Hess here this morning. And we're at a milestone moment. I feel like I'm at a milestone moment with you. And the Spirit is calling us out. And the Spirit is asking us to put aside our texts and our scripts and to go to that place that we have been praying to go for 4 years. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us. God bless you.